Well, Broncos country, here we are yet again. 2 games to play and nothing to play for. An unfortunately familiar position for the Denver Broncos. Hello, everyone. Welcome inside Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WinBet alongside Brandon Marshall. I am Michael Spencer. B-Marsh, man, we got a lot to get to from yesterday's game. A 17-13 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. And now playoff window is shut. Let's be realistic. They've got a less than 1% chance of making it to the postseason. No playoffs. So let's get into what happened yesterday. We start, as always, with What's on Marshall's Mind. What's on Marshall's Mind brought to you by First Bank, banking for good. B-Marsh, take it over.
I'm just shocked that, a team was +3 in the turnover margin and ended up losing the football game. I can't believe it. The defense did their thing. Broncos defense did a great job. Once again, held a team with 17 points, and the offense capitalized on it. So the fact that they essentially helped Drew Lock and his offense and Shermer and those guys, and said, okay, cool, we're going to gift you the ball. We're going to gift you the ball 3 extra times or 3 times. Mm-hmm. Let's see what you do with it. Hopefully we can win this football game and try to keep our hopes alive. Came up empty-handed.
You know what's crazy, too, is you look at the stats, and they had 10 points off the turnovers, right? And so you're like, okay, 10 points off the turnovers, that's pretty good. The problem is they only had 3 points off of non-turnovers, right? Yeah. And so that was the problem. And it was funny because all week we were talking about coming into this game, Drew Lock and turnovers, and can he take care of the football? Yeah. Turnovers for the Broncos offense weren't the problem. They didn't turn the ball over, but they weren't able to capitalize on the real opportunities that their defense gave them, because we all know that the 10 points from the turnovers were kind of a fluke, because the one was the Bradley Chubb, which was almost a pick 6, gives the ball at the 1-yard line. Broncos go in and score. Then prior to that, the Broncos had turned the Raiders over, and the Broncos go 3 and out. They get 4 yards, and they end up having to kick a field goal. So really, really disappointing from this Broncos offense and what we saw yesterday. And Brandon, what was up with the running game? Because this was the thing that we had talked about. When they run the football, they are successful. They were 5-2 this season and still are 5-2 when running the ball for 120 yards or more. I thought with Drew Lock coming in at quarterback, they were going to run the football, and I thought they were going to have some success. Yes, they were without Lloyd Cushenberry up front, but wow, they just could not run the football at all yesterday.
Yo, they averaged 1 yard a carry. I think it was 1.1, if I want to be specific. They averaged 1 yard a carry.
And that's a little inflated because that includes Drew Lock's carries. Your 2 running backs averaged less than a yard a carry because they had 14 carries for 8 yards.
I don't even know, because the Raiders front isn't that great to me.
Right.
Their front 7 isn't that great. I know they have a Pro Bowl and Denzel Perryman, but there's no way, and Max Crosby, but there's no way with the 2-headed monster that they have in Denver, Javonte and Melvin, how talented both of those backs are. There's no way that they only get 8 yards on 14 carries. I don't see it. That's crazy. First of all, the offense only had 8 first downs.
Yeah.
8 first downs. So I'm like, yo, what is going on right here, right? What is going on with the run game? They only gave the ball to, you said 14 times, right? Mm-hmm.
Which I think is the first problem. I think, honestly, I thought they threw the ball more with Drew Lock. They threw the ball more with Drew Lock than I thought they were going to. Yeah. I didn't necessarily hate the way that Drew played yesterday, and I thought that he made some good throws, and I thought that Alberto Cuebunam had a crucial drop. I thought that Jerry Jeudy had a really crucial drop as well. So I'm not going to pin that all on Drew Lock, but I thought the game plan should have been more for them to run the football, despite the fact they were without Lloyd Cushenberry. I'm surprised that it was only 14 carries combined for Melvin and Javonte.
Yeah, it's not like the game was out of reach. The game wasn't out of reach. It wasn't like, because we were playing from behind, we have to catch up, let's throw the rock. No, the game was within reach the whole time, thanks to the 3 turnovers that we created. But for the fact that you only give with a young quarterback that you don't necessarily all the way believe in, I'm surprised you didn't lean on the running game more. Yeah. Maybe they was trying to give him a shot to see, can he still be the guy? You know what I mean? I'm not sure if that was in the back of their mind or his mind, but it wasn't good enough. It was terrible. This year, I guarantee we will have a new offensive coordinator coming into 2022. I guarantee it. There's no way they can keep the same offensive coordinator.
I'm surprised they don't have a new offensive coordinator right now. I'm surprised that they have stuck with Pat Shermer, because Pat Shurmur is going to cost Vic Fangio his job.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah, he will. He will. I mean, he has first of all, the Broncos have been terrible in division play. I mean, the only winning record was against the Chargers. They're 4-1 against the Chargers in the last 5 years, or last, 2-3 years, which is good. But that's it. The Chiefs, they're 0-5. The Raiders, they're like 1-4, 1-5. It's sickening. We haven't been this bad in division in I don't know how long. But all I know is, the offense stunk yesterday. 8 first down, you stink. Okay.
And Brandon, that tells me that it's not just Teddy and that it's not just Drew, right? Yeah. I mean, I put this on the coaching staff more than I put it on anybody, but I do wonder what yesterday did, if anything, for Drew Lock and his future. I don't know that it helped, but I also don't know that it hurt. I mean, you look at the numbers, he completed 68% of his passes. That's actually the 4th highest completion percentage of his career. 153 yards, certainly not great, but as I mentioned, he did have 2 drops. They didn't take too many shots down the field, and the ones that they did, usually they didn't complete. They had the toe tap that would have been to Cortland Sutton on the sideline. I'm not going to put that on anybody. It just, sometimes balls don't get completed. He didn't turn over the football, which I think is huge. It was just the 3rd time in his career that he didn't have an interception or at least a fumble. Which isn't that wild?
That is wild.
and so like all the Drew Lock stands and the ones who just can't get Drew Lock out of their mind are like, well, he played great. He didn't turn over the football. I'm like, no, he didn't play great. They didn't even get inside the red zone other than when their defense set them up at the 1-yard line. They had 1 red zone trip yesterday.
Like the bar is so low, okay, that now people say, oh, he played great. He didn't turn the ball. Oh, well, he didn't turn the ball. Look, that's how low the bar is, okay? Yes. Like, can we please raise the bar? Let's raise it. It's time to stop trying to hold Drew Lock's hands or hold these people's hands and just say, look, did you get the job done? Are you playing, good football or not? It is what it is. Let's not justify because, maybe this or maybe this. No. Look, this is black and white. Okay. Did you get it done or did you not? And it didn't happen. Now, so I thought he played pretty well yesterday myself, but I don't think I think it was like a lateral move. I don't think it was like, oh, he got better or, oh, we saw something different than we've seen before. No, I don't think we see anything different. He looks kind of the same, in my opinion. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you still need a new quarterback for 2022. That's it. That's the end of the day. So Drew Lock's not it. He's going to be the backup or backup somewhere else. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, guys. He is not the quarterback of the future.
No, I totally agree. And I don't know how you can look at what he did yesterday and say, okay, we're good. You know what I mean? Because you're right. This is about the bar and where it is. And the bar was really low for Drew Lock, and it still is low. And if any other quarterback has that type of performance, we're talking about how the offense was not good enough. But because it's Drew Lock and because turnovers had been such an issue for him and because he didn't turn over the football, people are sitting there like, well, it's not his fault. The defense couldn't get off the field. The defense was on the field for 20 minutes in the second half. Yeah. Well, that's because the offense couldn't get anything going in the second half, So let's not confuse the two there. But I do think that I think you're right. I think that we didn't learn anything about Drew Lock in terms of his future. I think it was a lateral game. And what we learned is that this coaching staff is not adapting to the personnel that they have.
No, not at all.
And therefore, the offensive coaching staff needs to, and I think will be gone by the time the season is over.
Yeah, and I think Shurmur, look, I think he's, obviously he's the NFL coach for a reason. He's been an NFL coach for a long time. He's done a good job in this league for a long time. But, when you come to certain teams, I mean, at some point you have to adjust, right? You have to adjust to what the NFL is going now, the innovative offenses, the window dressing, right? It might be the same play, just different formation or throw a couple motions on it or, something, right? Something, and do something to protect your young quarterback. I just feel like it's just kind of just real basic. He's just a real basic type of guy. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Mm-hmm. Okay, he won't become Sean McVay or the coach from the Bengals or anybody. He won't become those guys. He is what he is. So now we know that we should move accordingly. and that is move away from that, I say.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Couldn't say it better myself. When we come back, how much does the defense bear in responsibility here for what happened yesterday? And are they completely absolved of the issues that we saw or not? Plus, Brandon said something last week about Vic Fangio that Broncos country didn't necessarily agree with. I want to see if he still stands by that point. We will talk about all that and more next, right here on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WynnBET. Welcome back to Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WynnBET. Alongside Brandon Marshall, I am Michael Spencer. B-Marsh, let's talk about the defense yesterday. And the run defense in the second half was not great. Yeah. I look at that. The Broncos allowed 31 rushing yards in the first half. They allowed 129 in the second half. I look at that and I say that these guys were just gassed. They were on the field for more than 20 minutes in the second half yesterday. How tough is that as a former defender and a former linebacker to be on the field that long? Because you're not getting any breaks at that point.
No, I mean, it's extremely tough. Like we spoke about, the Broncos offense only had 8 first downs. That's exhausting. That means the defense is back on the field over and over again. The Raiders had 22 first downs, okay? They're extending drives. The defense is getting tired. And you ask, is the defense completely absolved? I don't think so. I mean, they held them to 17 points, which was amazing. But at the same time, the third down efficiency, the Raiders were 50%. They were 6 for 12, right? They averaged 5.1 yards a play. That means every 2 plays is a first down, okay? Now, I guess that could go from, okay, we're tired, we're on the field, the offense ball, and they're not allowing the defense to rest. But at the same time, the defense has to get off the field. Now, It ain't like the Raiders put up 30 points like they did the first time, but at the same time, it's tough, right? So if the offense is not giving the defense a break or time to sit there and make adjustments, truly make adjustments where the defensive coordinator is saying, okay, look, guys, this happened on this play, this happened on this play, let's fix this. It's like they're sitting down, as soon as they sit back down, they're right back up,
Right.
That's hard, that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos did have a sustained drive in the second half. They managed just 62 yards of offense on 3 possessions. They only had the ball once in the fourth quarter. The Broncos only had the ball once in the fourth quarter, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And for us to still be in the game and almost win it speaks to how tough and how gritty this team is. We're just not explosive. We're not an explosive team. We're not an explosive offense. Our defense is still really good, but, any defense is going to get tired if the offense doesn't sustain drives. Yeah. So I don't care who you are. You could be a Pro Bowl, one of the best guys in the franchise. You're going to get tired. You're going to get annoyed. As soon as you sit down, as soon as they say, all right, punt team alert, punt alert, you're going to get upset. You're like, oh, my God, here we go again. So that's what happens every third down. They say, punt team, get ready. Punt team, get ready. So then you got to grab your helmet and just get ready for the next drive, man. And that's extremely annoying.
Yeah, and part of that, I mean, like I said, part of why I think the defense isn't totally absolved here is because one of the long Raiders drives was right out of the gate. Yeah. Coming right out of halftime. They go 75 yards. I think they ran 9 plays on that drive. 8 of them were rushing plays.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they ran for 62 yards on that drive.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say, yes, the defense did some really good things, but they're not necessarily absolved of total blame here. Now, Brandon, you said last week that you thought the Broncos should bring back Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
Have you changed your mind on that, and how much do the next 2 games kind of factor in?
You know what? The needle hasn't moved for me on that. I think they should. I think they should still bring Vic back. I think he's a valuable asset on the defensive side of the ball. Like we say, his clock management isn't the best, right? He's not the best head coach, right? But at the same time, his defense are amazing. So if you could bring somebody in to truly run the offense, have him, maybe he needs to take a coaching clinic, okay? He needs to do something because it's not, in the moment, his clock management isn't great. But, I think you should give him 1 more year. Give him an Aaron Rodgers or give him an elite quarterback, and the guy's going to the playoffs, man, because his defense is going to shut people down.
Yeah.
Give him an elite quarterback, he's going to win. So George got to go get somebody. Okay, he has to go get somebody. He has to go get an innovative offensive coordinator. I think he deserves one more year. This team is really competitive right now. I don't see, that, firing him. It could be an answer, but I think he deserves one more shot. And Broncos country going to disagree with me on that. They did last week. We need somebody else. No, man, his defense is amazing. His defense is really good. So I think just bring somebody else in and get him some help on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, like we said last week, you can't discount what he is doing on the defensive side of the ball and the fact that he is enabling his team to still be in games. And I'm with you on the clock management stuff and all that stuff that we have talked about ad nauseum since Vic got here that continues to be an issue. And we saw it yesterday, right, with the 4th down situation and Brandon McManus running on the field late because it was a late field goal call. And B-Mac, according to Vic Fangio, was upset that it had taken that long. And Vic kind of put it on the refs. You got to figure that stuff out, because if that's the reason why Brandon McManus is that field goal, then you're costing yourself points yet again because of clock management issues. So
for losing your job, though.
That doesn't say that again.
So that type of stuff will lose you your job, though.
Yes, right, exactly. It's part of the reason why he's on the hot seat. Yeah. So I do think the next 2 weeks are going to be really interesting, and we're going to talk about that and what we expect from this Broncos team coming up, as really they're just playing for pride to round out the regular season. Right now, let's jump into our report card, brought to you by Flock Homes. Smarter rental property ownership starts here. Visit flockhomes.com to learn more. Professor Marshall, who are we handing out grades to today?
Man, obviously I'm a former linebacker, and I just watched.
You were such a homer. I
watched the linebacker position religiously, and Jonas Griffith, man, new cat, bounced around the league. He came in the league in 2020. He bounced around the league a little bit, and it seems like he may have found a home in Denver, because they initially brought him in for special teams purposes, but he looks like he can play defense. And so because of his lack of experience, because of, what they touted him as, and, how he showed and proved himself yesterday, I'm going to give him an A. I thought he played extremely well yesterday. He was all over the field, 13 tackles, 2 for loss. I mean, the guy was all over the field, man. And he looks the part as well. He looks the part. He seems like he's grasped the defense. So, and we spoke about this a couple shows ago. They're going to have a decision to make at linebacker.
Yeah.
And so, the league is almost about who's cheapest, who's younger. So why would they pay Alexander? Why would they pay Josie? They don't have to. They got guys that they can play. They got Kenny Young, they got Baron Brown, and they got Jonas Griffith. So honestly, I could see, even though Alexander played amazing, I can see, him being gone. I can see Josie being gone.
Yeah. Jonas, it was only his 3rd game taking defensive snaps. It was his 2nd ever start. He leads the team in tackles. And I think, Brandon, we're sitting here talking about Vic Fangio and the job he's done defensively. He's done a really good job coaching up these guys, specifically at that spot, so that they can lose their 2 starting inside linebackers and yet still not miss a beat at that position, and have a guy who was on the street basically and was a special teams signee come in and play really meaningful snaps for you in what was a really meaningful game.
Yeah, and look, let me tell you something. That is why Josie and Alexander are on the hot seat.
Yeah.
That's why, they're bringing in guys. And first of all, Reggie Herring, great linebacker coach, one of the best I've actually ever had in my whole career. He knows how to develop guys. He developed Todd Davis. He developed a lot of people, right? He helped develop me and everything. So, the guy is a hell of a coach. As you see, he's doing it again with Jonas and with Barron. So look, I think, the future's bright for the inside linebacker position for the Broncos.
I'm going to hand out a grade to Bradley Chubb. I'm going to give him a B because I'm basically faulting Bradley Chubb for his team not getting the win. He would have gotten an A had the Broncos gotten a win, but obviously he makes the fantastic play with the interception. Had he gotten into the end zone, I would have given him an A. No, I'm kidding. But he also had a season high 5 tackles, and this is a guy who has talked about his rehab process and coming back and saying this is kind of the opportunity for him in these couple of games right here where he starts to really feel good, and said that, a couple of weeks ago. And so I think what Bradley Chubb did is certainly deserved a B. We don't give out B pluses, but I would give out a B plus to Bradley Chubb if we did. I'll give him a solid B.
Is he coming up on his 5th-year option?
They've already picked it up, so he'll be back next year.
Okay, so he has one more year to play well to try to get the contract. Okay.
Yeah. One more year to try and stay healthy too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think that's going to be a big determining factor as to whether or not he gets paid, is if he can stay healthy and can prove that he can be on the field for 17 games, or if not 17, can he give you, 12 or 14? Because that's obviously been an issue for him. But he will be back next year in a Broncos uniform. It's just a question of how much he will be on the field. No. All right, when we come back, what will we be looking for in the final 2 games of the season, and what will we learn about this team and these players? There is no postseason, but there is still something to play for. We will talk about that and much more next, right here on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WynnBET. Back inside Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WynnBET. It is time to take a trip around the league. Around the League is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on their most exciting lineup ever. Shop NissanUSA.com today. Brandon, holy smokes, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. My goodness. Eye-popping numbers yesterday.
Murdered the Ravens. And the Ravens are supposed to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. Right, year after year, they are though, year in and year out. But this year, Joe Burrow has been their kryptonite, man. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, all those guys. You know, they got 2,000-yard receivers, a 1,000-yard rusher, a 4,000-yard passer. Look, yesterday he went off, 525 yards. Oh my, Ravens, you got to be you should be ashamed of yourself. I know Ray Lewis is somewhere shaking his head. Okay, he is sick, sick.
I think the Bengals are for real. Let me ask you this. How difficult does the play become? How different does the play become once you get into the playoffs? Because this is a Bengals team. Joe Burrow's in his second year. T. Higgins is a young guy. Joe Mixon's been around a little bit, but this will be their first kind of taste of success, assuming they go on to make the playoffs, which I think they will. Right. How different do things then become when you're playing postseason football?
It's different, man. Postseason is different. You know, it's crazy because when I got in the league, they said, from preseason to regular season is different. I never believed that. I was like, it's the same thing. No, it's faster. Okay, it's faster. It's way different. And from the regular season to the postseason, it's a lot tighter, man. It's a lot tighter. It's more competitive. The game plans are more crisp. Everybody's on their A game. It's tough, man. It's tough. So if you don't have experience, you know, a lot of times, you know, the smallest thing may knock you off your pivot or may rattle you, but you know, the teams that have experience, that have good leadership, I feel like they go the furthest in the playoffs, which Tom Brady is an amazing leader. That's why he's always going to go far in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is going to go far in the playoffs. They have leadership and they have guys that have been there and done that. So it's going to be tough for that young team to, get past the first round or whatever, because the playoffs is serious.
I'll be interested to watch that and see how that unfolds, because Cincinnati's a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoy watching them. Speaking of a team that has experience, and Brandon, a team that most people, I think myself included, almost left for dead, was really worried about a couple weeks ago, Kansas City Chiefs. Won 8 straight now. They have won the AFC West for a 6th straight year. The last team to do that, the last team to win the AFC West was the Broncos. Ever since Peyton left and you guys had that run into Super 50, it's been all Chiefs in the AFC West. And the difference for me, Brandon, this year to last year with the Chiefs and in the past seasons, their defense is playing really well right now. And not against slouches, right? I mean, they held the Packers to 7 points. Then they held the Raiders to 14, Cowboys to 9, Broncos to 9. Okay, whatever. Raiders to 9. They gave up 28 to the Chargers and then held the Steelers to 10 yesterday. This is really, really impressive. And this is what was kind of holding Kansas City back, right? And now their defense is starting to play really, really well. Part of the reason why they are dominating the AFC West yet again.
Yeah, I mean, look, they traded for Melvin Ingram before the trade deadline from the Steelers, and now he helped the pass rush out, and it seemed like he helped the defense out. You know, I mean, first of all, this defense is becoming elite, which is, I can't even believe I'm saying that, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs defense is becoming elite. The points per game is way down allowed, right? And they're just playing amazing, man. They're giving Mahomes the ball. they're getting off the field. This team is dangerous. Before the season, before the season, obviously they were a Super Bowl contender. And the first part of the season, they're like, okay, this is not the same team, right? Mahomes is taking a pitfall in his production.
Yeah.
And now there's like, okay, this team could go to the Super Bowl again. Who's going to stop them? Are we going to see them again for the third straight year of the Super Bowl?
I don't see. See, here's the thing. When you look at the AFC and look at the NFC, in the AFC, I think it's clear cut that the Chiefs are the favorite. Okay. And Tennessee might make a run if Derrick Henry can come back. Do we really believe the Titans can do that? The Colts are playing really well right now, but I don't think they're legit contenders. The Bills and the Patriots going back and forth. What, you think the Colts are legit contenders?
Now, Carson Wentz is obviously the Achilles heel, okay? He's going to pull the team back. But Jonathan Taylor should probably be the MVP. Obviously him, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady, I think those are the top three. But Jonathan Taylor means more to the Colts. Well, I can't say that. Sorry. Let me not.
If he doesn't win MVP, he's definitely going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
He has to. He has to, right? So, and the Colts defense is stellar, especially with Darius Leonard in there. Darius Leonard didn't play last game, and that was their first game without a turnover. Mm-hmm. So the guy punches the ball out at a crazy rate. He's the new Peanut Tillman with the punch.
Yeah.
So, look, the Colts, I think they're for real. I think they're legit. Well, is the Achilles heel.
And what do we always talk about? We always talk about run the ball and play defense, and that's what wins you games late in the season, and they can do both of those things. I'm still not convinced that they can beat the Chiefs, in large part because of Carson Wentz. I think that they're going to have to score points, and that can certainly. But then you look at the NFC, and it's jam-packed with teams. You got the Cowboys, the Packers, the Bucs, and the Rams, all with 4 wins or less. And, oh, by the way, the Packers and the Bucs have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady calling the shots. You know what I mean? So that automatically gives them the edge.
Right, man. You got to talk about Kyler Murray as well. The Cardinals been playing well all season. They took a pitfall as of late, but for the most part, like you said, the NFC is jam-packed. It's going to be must-see TV in the playoffs.
Yes.
The NFC playoff race will be must-see TV. You said the Cowboys, the Packers, the Rams. Who's in the wild card? Is it the?
Well, you got the Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
The Cardinals in the wild card. I'm trying to think of who else is in there off the top of my head. Let me pull it up here.
Yeah,
I was just looking at it earlier this morning, and now we've had so much going on that I'm just kind of blanking. The wild card in the NFC got the Cardinals. Oh, the 49ers and the Eagles are currently in the 7th spot. But what's wild is right below got the Saints at 7-7, and then the Vikings and the Cardinals at 7-8.
Yeah, and look, shout out to Sean Payton for dealing with this year and the Saints still being in the playoff race, which is wild. But like you said, the Eagles are playing well. The 49ers are dangerous.
Yes.
I think the 49ers are dangerous. I was shocked that they lost to the Titans. I picked them to win, but they're dangerous. So this NFC playoff race, somebody's gonna get upset, man. It's gonna be interesting. Speaking
of getting upset, the moment of all moments from the week that was in the NFL.
Mike, that was great.
How about the Washington football team throwing punches with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter? It's not like this was late in the game and they've been getting dominated. It was early in the game. They had been getting dominated. And then all of a sudden you got guys swinging at each other on the sideline, guys who were teammates. And Brandon, they went with you guys all have brothers fight, which is what everybody says after there's a fight in the locker room. Usually, though, that fight is in the locker room or it's at practice. It's not on the sidelines of a nationally televised game. What did you make of what we saw yesterday with Jonathan Allen taking a swing at Daron Payne?
I mean, look, he was disrespected. Payne put his finger to his temple and pushed him. And look, no man was going to take that kindly. Okay, no man's going to take that. Now, everybody might react differently, but nobody's going to take to that kindly. And at the time, it was heated. Allen was like, no, I'm not having that. So he decided to throw a punch. Look, those guys are done anyway, okay? Cancun on 3. Let's get them guys. They're probably planning their vacation as we speak. But no man wants to, nobody's going to be disrespected like that, at the end of the day. So whether you're going to have something, whether you're going to throw a punch or whether you're going to do anything, Payne was out of line for that.
Were you on the team? We might not want to get into this. Were you on the team for the Thanksgiving fight?
The Thanksgiving fight.
There was a Thanksgiving fight. Isaiah McKenzie, Chris Harris Jr.
Oh, I was on the team.
Yeah.
on the team. That was a very interesting day. It was hilarious, to be honest with you. It was funny.
What other fights were you? I mean, you don't have to necessarily name names. We're not have to call guys out because they're not here to defend themselves.
I mean, I was, the most.
But like, how many fights did you see?
I've seen a lot of fights in my day. It really started from college. As things get more competitive, guys are grown, people are, heated, right? From college, training camp, all the way to the end of my career. The most notable fight was the Raiders fight.
Oh gosh, how did I forget about the Raiders fight with Akeem?
Oh, a brawl on the field. And so I'm in the plane. Next thing I know, I'm like, where's everybody at? Everybody's over here. So I'm running over here. And coach's like, oh, where? I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Then you see Crabtree and Akeem squaring up. That was amazing. That was must-see TV, man. This is entertainment. This is why we get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, right, right. Between Akeem and Crabtree and Akeem and was it Henry Douglas or Harry Douglas?
Harry Douglas. I
yes.
think.
Yeah, the Titans.
The Titans. So he said he's gonna beat him.
Catch him in the
offseason.
That was like my 5th game covering the team.
Yeah.
And so I'm there, like, I'm just kind of happy to be there. And then Akeem's in the locker room afterwards, and he's like, when I see him in Atlanta, I'm going to beat his ass. And I'm like, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah. You thought it was like WWE, huh?
Right.
Like, and so that's the type of entertainment Akeem brings, man. It's
yes.
TV, WWF, which I grew up on, right? Not it's the F. And it was that type of interview. It was funny. It was crazy. I'm like, yo, this is wild, but I love Akeem.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into our sneak peek. Sneak peek brought to you by UC Health. With personalized care and locations across Colorado, UC Health is here for you, no matter where your story takes you. UC Health, live extraordinary. Brandon, this is a really fascinating situation that the Broncos are in. And unfortunately, it is an all too familiar situation for a lot of the guys in that locker room. What is it like? Because you have unfortunately been there. You now have 2 games left. You know that the postseason is not a reality. You've got 2 games against divisional opponents. Right. How do you get your mind right for this? And how do the players approach this week knowing, hey, I may not be back next year. My head coach might not be back next year. We've really got nothing to play for. So how do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's pride. That's all you have to play for is pride, man. And honestly, the NFL is tough, man. It's cutthroat. So you have to play well. You have to try to play well for, your future contract or your future team, or if you're going to free agency or if you may get cut or traded, you have to play well at the end of the day. So there are certain guys with security, like a Justin Simmons, but that guy's going to play consistent all the time. That's the type of guy he is. But for the rest of the guys, the Kareem Jacksons of the world, like, I may not be back.
Yeah.
They like Caden Stearns, right? So look, let me be on my P's and Q's. Let me play hard these last 2 weeks. Show I have no quit in my body. Show that I can still make plays. So when I go into free agency next year, get cut or whatever the case may be, somebody will want to pick me up because they know I still have it. So I think they have a lot to play for, individually. Not collectively, no, but individually, you have a lot to play for.
Was it harder to get up for games when you knew you didn't have anything to play for collectively?
Yeah, it was tough as far as like, well, I know, this is our final couple games, but me individually, I need to play right for my contract. I need to play well for just my last name, right? My brand, I guess we say. Everybody has their own personal brand, so you got to play well for that. But as far as like the team, like as soon as you see something going, some bad going on, you're like, okay, here we go again. The offense, here we go. Throw another pick or punt team up, all right, here we go, But once you get out there, the competitive nature of the good ones, will carry them through. So hopefully that competitive nature of each and every player out there, they'll play for something, individually, rather than collectively. So, that's really it. That's really it, because there's nothing else to play for, right? Yeah. But you got to play for your money.
Yeah, right. You're playing for the bag. Well, and especially in the NFL, where it is cutthroat and they will cut you like that and not feel bad about it. And I've had guys tell me this when we've had these conversations late in the season too, like other teams are watching the film as well. Yeah. And so if other teams are watching and they're saying, oh, well, this dude's not giving, his full effort on this, they're not going to want to sign you to a deal.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why every player has something to play for individually. Play for that money, play for your money, right? Play for your pride, your competitive nature, whatever gets you going, right? It's not going to be team success, right? But you have to find something that'll have you stay in the league, because if you start tanking and you start playing bad, they're gonna be like, okay, well, look, this guy started playing bad when we were at our worst. We don't need him. We want guys that's gonna play, and then you get the rap sheet because a team's gonna call and say, yeah, what made you cut Jonathan, man? What happened? Well, yeah, he played bad. I'm telling you, it's a snow effect. So you don't want that. You don't want that label. So
and the Broncos, to their credit, after the game, they all said the right things, right? And we heard from Bradley Chubb and Cortland Sutton and Dalton Reisner, we're going to continue to play really well. Now the question is, do they actually continue to do that? And the guys who don't, they stand out. They stand out. There is no doubt about that. Hey, that is going to do it for this edition of Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael. For my partner, Brandon Marshall, I am Michael Spencer. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will be back with you next week after the Broncos visit the LA Chargers, and we will have just one regular season game left. After that game, kind of weird to think that the season is coming to an end. That is going to do it for us here on Upon Further Review. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you next week.